Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen here. Welcome to the inaugural round of the Monkey Mafia Esports League F1 division here, taking place at the Autodromo Internazionale Monza, the first ever round of this league. Hotspot with you on the call. Pleased to be here. Running slightly late and slightly underprepared as I've just gotten out of a good friend of our, Kate Thomas's LMP division over in Gran Turismo 7. That race started at 8:30. That qualifying rather. So I'm here, slightly underprepared, but as you can see here, 17 cars on the grid, and this is the inaugural round of the league. So a lot of these drivers I don't really know from other places. You know, I primarily only cast the Midwest F1 League, but I will say that is something I do enjoy. Getting to see is new drivers being able to show their stuff, really, when, I don't know really much about them. Of the people that are in here that I do know, that being drivers like Lancey, Shariah Coleslaw, A-Dub, we've got Slayerized in here, Fireballer, Lightwork, Cynical in here as well, P. Gonzalez. The drivers I do know that are here, including Lightwork for that matter, if I hadn't said that already, they are right quick in their own right, so it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top. We've got Shariah Coleslaw here in what I believe is his Ferrari. I'm not quite sure, considering we're still having to go with multiplayer cars with the game kind of crap in the bed once again, as far as the tire degradation being different from car to car. So we'll go along with Shariah on this opening lap. First ever timed lap attempt for the Monkey Mafia Esports League here. And it is underway as he heads down the pit straight in towards the Redafilo chicane. The pit stretch chicane that's surely going to catch a lot of drivers out by surprise when it does come time for the race. Out of the corner, holds it quite nicely there as he makes his way in towards Curva Grande. And then finally into the Raggia chicane here. Kind of tricky left and then right flick. You don't really want to take the sausage curves on the inside of the corner, and you got to beware of the gravel on the outside. Shariah's had a very tidy lap going so far. The Lesmo corners now. I think maybe has gone a gear lower than he needed to for the first one, but holds the line nicely out of the second Lesmo and down the, what is this called, the Seraglio Straight in towards the Ascari section of corners here. Quite a tricky one because, naturally, well, I don't really know. They are quite tricky. Oversteer does happen a lot through those corners. You want to take them a lot. Oh, what is this? Well, that driver is in the middle of the straight. Shariah Coleslaw is going down in towards the Parabolica curve. Now, I was going to say, that Ascari corner there does tend to generate some oversteer for a lot of drivers. You want to take it a bit slower than your brain says you can. It's a very tricky corner to navigate. And Shariah Coleslaw goes 1:19.977. Very solid opening lap attempt from him, I believe. Next up, we've got, somebody coming around the line here. It's going to be that of MMR Cynical. Down the pit straight in his Red Bull livery, 1:19.934. I tell you what, that is a pretty close margin up there at top. Only 4/100ths of a second. Fireballer goes P3 in a lap that doesn't appear to be a competitive timed attempt. It looks like maybe just a slight installation lap from him. Next up, it looks like we're going to have what looks to be an Aston Martin coming through Parabolica corner now. I say Aston Martin, it's tricky because, again, we've in these multiplayer cars, instead of the proper game-given cars, sometimes it's difficult to tell. It's how do we pronounce his name? George Mazda guy. Well, I'll just call him George as he makes his way out of the Redafilo chicane in towards Curva Grande, looking pretty well at the moment. Next around the line we have S&M Mini. On his way, hey, he went P3 actually. That was a pretty solid lap from him. Valhalla Wolf went 4th. I believe that was Lightwork who's just crossed the line there. Has gone P6 at the moment, still 6.5 seconds off nearly. Fireball has gone P5. As we're along with George here as he makes his way through the Lesmo corners and down the Seraglio straight here. DRS down the straight, although very rarely do overtakes happen into the Ascari chicane here. If you ask me, they should probably put it out here off of the Ascari chicane down this little straight in towards Parabolica. That would be a good spot for DRS, but that is not where they have it. So let's go over your roster so far. 17 drivers on the grid for you tonight. I believe we have all but 3 seats are filled. As George Mazda goes just over a second and a half off the pace of our leaders so far. Next up, I believe it is Osmanian Devil, rounding Parabolica corner. Looks like a pretty decently okay lap. Well, it's P10 for him. P9 for him. 3.5 seconds. So here are your constructor rosters here in the Alfa Romeo. We've got Slayerized and George Mazda, Osmanian Devil and Valhalla Wolf in the AlphaTauris. We've got that, well, this is, I think it's light work, supposed to be, in an Alpine. I'm not actually quite sure. Also in what appears to be an Alpine is that of Lancy, although I'm not sure he actually drives for Alpine. No, he doesn't. Got Ray in the Aston Martin. He's not here tonight. P. Gonzalez, one of the drivers of in the Aston Martin. Shariah in his Ferrari. What I'm assuming is Fallen Demon, as well as Beamer, making up the Haas team. Then is Mini in the Mercedes. We've got Pingolo in the Pingolo and Gab in the McLaren, Mini in the Mercedes, Cynical and Edwin in the Red Bull, and then P. Gonzalez and Fireballer in the Williams, although we won't need to worry about any of that now, considering we're still with multiplayer cars. But that is your look at what these teams actually are, as we do have both Cynical and Coleslaw on outlaps once again. Remember, only 4/100ths of a second separating these top two. It is a very close battle for pole position so far, and we still have a decent chunk of time left in the session. Is just under 10 minutes to be exact. So, a lot of drivers, I would think, can be able to put in a solid attempt here. Drivers like Gab, you know, who at the moment is a second and a half off the pace, but I'm assuming a lot of these drivers back here really didn't get a proper time lap attempt. You know, maybe there was traffic in the way, maybe they were just trying to get a feel for the circuit. I know that is something that a lot of drivers do nowadays, is try to, you know, really get a feel for the car, how it handles before giving it the beans and risking it all. As Gab comes back into the pits, we do have next up, I believe it is that is Fireballer making his way onto a timed lap here. It is, I'll tell you what, quite difficult to see Matt Black F1 car here, as I believe we've just had either Slayerized or Lancy make their way into the top 5. I want to say it's Slayerized behind him. Yes, it is. So we are on board here with Fireballer as he exits the Retifilo chicane in towards Curva Grande. Looks like he's doing all right so far. No criticisms to be had. He does have a little bit of traffic coming up here in towards Rajia chicane. Almost 0.4 of a second quicker through Sector 1. Pretty solid lap. Little bit of difficulty getting onto the throttle there. You know, he's mashed the accelerator. Lots of wheel spin. He wasn't able to get through the gears quickly enough. That may have hurt him. Although at this moment in time, it looks like he's still on a pretty solid lap. Exits both the Lesmos down into the Seraglio straight here. What will his time be? Let's see it coming up here. He's 0.8 of a second faster through Sector 2 into the Ascari chicane now. Exits that. He's taking it very nicely here. This will put him roughly P5, P4, somewhere around there, I would say. Lancy on an outlap now. We've got both Cynical and Shariah, our two provisional front row sitters, going on timed laps now. Let's go along with Fireballer. Coming to the line he goes. This looks actually a really solid lap. He does go P6, 127.02, a whole second faster than his previous time, as we now have Cynical making his way in towards Parabolic, and now Shariah Coleslaw not that far behind. He's about to make his way into the corner as well, but Cynical now coming to the line. Let's see what he has, and it is 1:19.715. Does improve by quite a considerable margin. Let's see if Shariah is able to best the time, and Shariah is going to back out of his lap. That puts him a quarter of a second behind Cynical, who a 1:19.715 is a very, very solid lap. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the lap that ends up taking pole here. Still 7 minutes and 10 seconds to go, but that is a very tall task to undertake if you want to get pole here. We've got Gaz and we've got Gazboy and Lancey. Lancey about to start his time lap here. Let's go along with the Dutchman, who piloting his pink Alpine livery. Down the pit straight he goes. Let's see what he's got on this timed attempt. Looks like at the moment 0.7 of a second off of our leader. Into the first corner he goes. Nice on braking. Yeah, I think he's held it pretty well. Gets up to acceleration once again very nicely. Yep, this looks like a good start to a lap here, as we do have a car that's gone off exiting the chicane. Well, I tell you what, he's actually slower at the moment by 1/100 of a second. Not ideal for Lancey, but still competitive with his previous lap, so we'll have to wait and see if he's able to best it here through Sector 2 as he makes his way into the second Lesmo now. Holds the exit very nicely, and the speed going down this Seraglio straight, the corner, as A-Dub looks to have retired from the session, that being down the back straight here. 0.5 second faster for Lancey through Sector 2, as A-Dub's car is going to come to rest. Well, not in Parabolic. I think it's going to go back around into the pit lane, hopefully. But into Parabolic it goes Lancey. Exiting the corner. Tell you what, this looks a good one here. He picks up the tow from the car entering the pit lane, and it's 1:19.502 for Lancey. Provisional pole for the Dutchman here. 0.2 of a second quicker than Cynical, whose lap I thought was going to look untouchable, but I tell you what, very solid attempt from Lancey, and he has just put his name into the hat here for pole position into the Italian Grand Prix, along with Gazboy now, who looks to be charging up for a timed lap yet to come. Looks like Slayer Eyes on that lap as well. Valhalla Wolf on his way down the backstretch in towards Parabolica. I don't think this is going to be a lap to hold on to for him. Osmanian Devil in towards Parabolica now. I think he's going to be starting one here shortly as well. Down the pit straight goes Osmanian Devil. He's going to be the next car out here, unless Gaz... Well, Gaz is going to be starting one. We're going to go along with Gaz. He's closer to pole at the moment. 0.7 of a second. I tell you what, I think he may have a fair chance of taking it here. Down the pit straight he goes. You can tell this is going to be his attempt. His battery being used in towards the Retafilo chicane here. Entry looks pretty tidy. How is it? Getting back on the throttle, a little hesitant, but not bad. Through Curva Grande now, looks pretty good. Takes the wide line, actually, trying to carry as much speed as he can into the Raggia chicane. He's slower by a whole 1/10 of a second. Not ideal. Oh, and he's hit that sausage curve on the inside of the second bit of the Raggia chicane, and his car has gone for a little slide there. He may need to back out of this attempt, and it kind of seems like he is. Yeah, I would say we'll have to wait for that. Osmanian Devil, mind you, does that say 0.5 of a second quicker through Sector 2? I'm going along with him as he goes down the back straight now in towards Parabolica Curve. Let's see where this lap puts him. I tell you what, looks like a pretty solid attempt so far. Puts a 1:23.77, 0.5 second faster for Osmanian Devil. 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in qualifying here. That was a pretty solid attempt. I think that will certainly cement him in the top 10. But I don't think he's going to have enough time to get back to the pit lane here, get a new set of tires on, and get one going, as it looks like Lancey has lost the car somewhere. Well, he's retired in the pit lane. It looks like he's done all he can do. As Slayer Eyes making his way through Sector 3 now. into Parabolica he goes. This looks an okay lap. And no, he's going to duck into the pit lane here. Knuckles, one of the stewards on tap, he says, drive safe tonight. This is the 5th league he's stewarding for. Don't make him regret that. That's a lot of leagues and divisions to steward for. My goodness. Only a couple drivers out on track. I tell you what, obviously you can't feel rain in the virtual world like we're watching onto. It does kind of feel and look like it may rain come race time. It's very cloudy at the moment here for qualifying. Nice cool air. That does typically help with these qualifying attempts, at least in real life, but I don't think it makes that much of a difference here in game. Here comes Fireballer to the line. He's going to be starting a time lap attempt. Valhalla coming out as well. Gazboy on an out lap as well. Cynical getting ready here. He's also entering a time lap. He's only got to better his current best by 0.2 of a second to get pole position. Shariah Coleslaw and Gazboy also within reach of pole here. I think it is that, well, it's actually Fallen Demon at the moment who furthest out ahead. He currently resides 4.5 seconds off the pace at the moment. I will say the top 7 within a second. However, 7th on back to P16, also within a second of each other. So, I tell you what, pretty close, oh geez, he, only a slight bit of lag here with Fallen Demon. I tell you what, we do have a potential for a very solid race considering how close these gaps are amongst a lot of the cars. It looks like Lightwork has gone over the Rajia chicane there. Shariah Coleslaw making his way down the Seraglio Straight. Cynical is there as well as Gazboy next up to start his timed lap. So Gazboy down the pit straight here in towards the Redifilo chicane. Let's see how he takes it. Heavy on the brakes. Yep, that one's pretty neatly done there, has to be said. I think he's going to be in for a good lap if he can hold them together. Monza isn't one of those tracks that you can make a mistake and continue hoping for a good lap. One mistake, and it's all over. So Gazboy at the moment, 1/1000th of a second worse through Sector 1. I tell you what, that's good enough to keep going if you ask me. A little bit of trouble getting back on the throttle once again, this time exiting the Rajia chicane. A little bit tentative on the throttle up through the gears. Lightwork has gone third, that's all he can manage. Gazboy's going to be our first driver across the line here, as Valhalla Wolf, I believe, is, yep, he's off at the chicane. It doesn't look like he's going to be completing one. Gazboy, purple sector 2, 0.3 of a second quicker as he makes his way into the Ascari chicane. Big wiggle of oversteer there. He's done nicely to hold the car. That will hurt his time, however. I'm just wondering how much that's going to hurt his time, because I tell you what, he looks like he's on a pretty solid lap. Maybe not one for pole, but for the second row, I think is not that far out of reach. But to the line now goes Gazboy for his final attempt. What does he have? He does go third, 1:19.762. Cynical's next up as he makes his way into Parabolica. Gazboy's done very well to put himself within 1/4 of a second of the leader, which currently is Lancey. But Cynical coming out of the final corner now. To the line goes Cynical, and he is not able to beat out Lancey. 3/100ths of a second behind the Dutchman, as now Shariah comes to the line, and he will not come to the line. He goes straight into the pits, so at the moment it looks as if Lancey will be taking pole position. Is anybody else going to be able to improve? Pingolo is slower by 1/10. Fireballer on his way in, Valhalla on his way in, so the Dutchman of Lancey takes pole position here by 3/100ths of a second over Cynical. And I'm just wondering where Cynical lost that time, because it did look as if he was really on to take pole position, and he's just missed out. So it is going to be Lancey on pole for the Italian Grand Prix. Cynical behind by 3/100th of a second. Gazboy third, Lightwork fourth, Shariah fifth, Valhalla sixth, seventh Osmanian, 8th Slayer Eyes, 9th Fireballer, 10th George, 11th Pingolo, 12th is Beamer, 13th A-Dub, 14th Gav, 15th is Mini, 16th P. Gonzalez, 17th. Rounding out the grid is that of Fallen Demon. I tell you what, within that top 7 cars is going to be a close race indeed. And then everyone behind them as well, all the way down to P16 is going to be also very close. This is going to be a very exciting Grand Prix. And any prediction we had for rain. Doesn't look like it's going to come true. It is a perfectly beautiful day here at the Autodromo Internazionale Monza for the opening round of the Monkey Mafia Esports League. I've not seen any, what do you call it, tonight. I've not seen any, indication that we're going to have rain. I'm not sure if we are going to have safety car or not. Yeah, not quite sure. We'll have to wait and see how this one goes. Oh, and the race about to go here. Well, we have lights turning on. Forget the formation lap. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go for the opening round of the Monkey Mafia Esports League. As Lancey gets the best start off the line, Cynical down to his inside. It's going to be a drag race into the first corner. Who's going to get in? It looks like Lancey has a very solid margin out ahead as they make their way into the first corner here, as it looks like he may just be able to pull off into the distance here. It looks like, as we look a little bit further back, Valhalla under pressure from Osmanian Devil, but it doesn't look like it's been able to come to fruition there. Lightwork's gotten around the inside of Gazboy, and now in towards the Rajia chicane. Around the outside looks Shariah. It's going to be side by side. Now in towards the Lesmos here, and Valhalla wants to tuck it down the inside. He's not got the room to do so. And it looks like we have a yellow flag towards the back. It is A-Dub who's gone around there, as well as perhaps one or two others. I'm not quite sure. However, at the moment, what we can tell you is that Lancey has done well to stay ahead of Cynical off the line, as Valhalla nearly had a look at Shariah, and Shariah was having a look at Gazboy. But it's not come to fruition. But I tell you what, Lancey's not out of the clear just yet. Oh, we may have a DNF. We do. It's Valhalla who's off. And this is and now we have cars spinning everywhere. This is coming out of, as P. Gonzalez looks like he is perhaps beached the car. Yes, he has. We've got several cars had gone around there. P. Gonzalez, Valhalla, Wolf, notably, has not been able to finish the first lap of the Grand Prix. This is coming out of the Ascari chicane here. I'm just wondering what's happened, because we saw him in a very strange part of the track to be DNF'd in. He was off to the outside of Ascari, but he didn't look so far off the track that he could have hit the outside wall. Maybe has he ran into another car. That would be my guess, but opening lap claims one driver, as only the virtual safety car is out on track. That's going to be slightly unfortunate for Cynical, as I think he was going to be on pace there to get a shot back at Lancey. However, this is just going to neutralize the field until we get DRS next time around. 27 laps is what we're in store for today, as Cynical, I think, really is going to be breathing down the neck of Lancey here, who Lancey had a really good start, and it looked initially like he was going to drive off, but that's not been the case, as Cynical is right behind him, and looks like he may seriously challenge for the lead here once we get back to green, as the green flag does have yet to come out, still under the virtual safety car. And now, green flag back in the air as they're going through Ascari. I tell you what, Lancey may have been caught sleeping, as Cynical now, down to the inside. I think he's going to get it. Side by side, in towards Parabolica here, and look at Lightwork looking down the inside. He's not been able to pull off the move 3 abreast, but it's a 3-car battle for the top spot, as we're going to have DRS enabled this time by, as they weave their way down the pit straight. Shariah Coleslaw looks on, trying to get into this fight as well. Lightwork's going to check down to the inside. Lancey does well to kind of block the inside. May have left too much room there for Lightwork, and it looks like Cynical trying his best to also try to get that spot off of Lancey, but Lancey will hold his top spot here so far. Fireballer getting around Osmanian Devil. Looks like Osmanian maybe has gone off of the chicane, because he's lost a couple of spots then. But still, we have a 5-car battle for this top spot. Lancey only has a 10th and a half back to Cynical as they make their way through the Lesmos, as Lightworks in on this as well. I just realized I don't actually have the telemetry up yet. DRS enabled now. Does Cynical try to go gutsy here and pull one off into Ascari? That would be the sight to see. as no, it looks like he's going to choose to play it safe for now. But I tell you what, Cynical is, and certainly does at this point, have Lancey on the ropes. He is really reeling in the Dutchman here as they make their way in towards Parabolica. I don't think any move to be had on their way in, but who's going to get the better exit out of the corner? It could even be Lightwork. Lightwork, I think, more or less under pressure from Shariah than he is pressuring the top two ahead of him, as Lancey does have the fastest lap. Then it goes all the way down to Gazboy, as now side by side, and Cynical is going to take the top spot as the safety car comes out. Well, I'm not sure why the safety car has come out. It looks like as something happened with George Mazda guy, as he perhaps shed a front wing somewhere along the track, that the game is deemed to be in a dangerous position. But I can tell you who's going to be happy about that one. It will be Cynical, as he is going to at least maintain this lead for another couple of laps. I'm just wondering when. Well, I guess now it's going to be how aggressive is Lancey going to be to get that spot back once we do go back to green, because I tell you what, he didn't look very keen to defend the position in towards the first corner. I know Cynical did have a serious pace advantage, but I think is Lancey more concerned with perhaps playing the long game rather than fighting for the top spot now? It's a very serious question to be asked, as Lightwork's done well to keep himself in this as well. Shariah as well, and Gazboy, despite not having a very good start down the two spots, is doing well to keep himself in this fight nonetheless. Looks like the biggest mover in the positive direction. Pingolo's up 4, Fallen Demon's up 4, and I think just by staying out of trouble, you can definitely pull that off. As far as in the negative direction, it is George Mazda guy, who at this point is down 6, and Valhalla, who did not meet the end of the first lap. But safety car out on track, and I think we're really not that far in, not far enough to see that pit stop for mediums to hards. So I'm going to step aside. Oh, well, I say that. Fireballer's on his way in, as well as a couple drivers. Fireballer, Pingolo, Osmanian Devil, and Slayerized all on their way in. I can tell you, Pingolo started on the softs, and those drivers all make their way to the hard tires. Fallen Demon has started this race on the softs. Slightly bold strategy, has to be said, but I tell you what, if you're on the mediums, you've had a great start to that race. The mediums, I think, definitely are the tire to be on, at least in these early stages. Well, safety car is out on track. I'm going to step aside for the time being, and I'll catch back up with you when we go back to green. Well, so the safety car is going to be making its way in this lap. Looks like... Let's go ahead and check the tire strategy here. The top 8 residing on the mediums. They've bet on that since the start. It looks like everybody outside the top 9 has chosen to stop and go for the hards. Can I confirm that with the stop chart? Yes, I can. Fallen Demon, the only driver to start on the soft tires, so he is sticking with that for now. So if you're in the top 8, you're on the mediums. Everywhere else, softs or hards. Cynical has done really well to take the top spot from that of Lancey. However, whether he's able to keep it or not is going to be the biggest question on my mind. As we're back to green flag racing here, 7th lap underway. It looked like Shariah Coleslaw was going to be under pressure from Gazboy there. Didn't really end up that way, as the cars kind of, I would say, spread out here amongst the safety car restart, although A-Dub trying to go down the inside of Fallen Demon in his Audi livery. He's done just that. Very nice there for A-Dub. Oh, Fallen Demon has really gone squirrely on getting back on acceleration, and now is trying to defend from both P. Gonzalez and Pingolo. Well, P. Gonzalez has found... Oh, goodness me. 3 cars DNF. P. Gonzalez, George Mazda guy, and Slayerized all finding a DNF, and we are under red flag. Well, I've never seen a red flag in a multiplayer lobby before. Opening round of the season, and we've gone to red flag. And it all started with that move between, who was it then? It was, Fallen Demon was side by side with, I believe it was Pingolo. Or somebody. It's all been a blur. 3 DNFs in one corner. And it all started with... all started with Fallen Demon getting out of shape, coming out of the chicane, as we've got 20 seconds until the restart of the race. And once again, just so you're aware, you can now fit whatever tires you want now that you're under the red flag. So it should be very interesting to see what strategies cars go on here with what is going to be another grid start here in just a couple of seconds' time. Man, oh man, here we are. We're back on the grid. Lights turning on here for now the second time, and Cynical has picked up a drive-through penalty for jumping the start, and that will surely hand the lead to Lancey. So we'll focus on the battle behind. Oh, and another huge accident behind. Gab, Mini, I believe, no A-Dub not, but there's a lot of cars going across. So many. Fallen Demons picked up 20 seconds of penalty. There is carnage everywhere here in Monza. And Cynical, well, the safety car is coming out. Cynical's picked up a drive-through penalty. Light Work has taken the second spot. Mini's picked up 5 seconds for corner cutting. So it looks like everybody, barring that of Fireballer, Pingolo, and Fallen Demon, has chosen to restart the race on the hards. Those three chose to restart on the mediums, but huge, huge accident again. Going into the chicane. Off the start, we saw some squirrely there with a couple of drivers, and then somebody missed a braking zone or two and collected several. 1 car, 2 car, 3 car, 4. All missing entirety of front wings. Safety car on track. Yikes. Not ideal. Literal thousands of dollars are gone. I mean, you know, at least in the case of Fallen Demon, Osmanian, and Gab, we're going to be, you know, they're going to be pitting here and getting those front wings back. Oh, Gab's going to run into A-Dub. Yes, he does. Well, these cars now coming in. Remember, Fallen Demon, 20 seconds. Cynical with a drive-through. That's, he is not served just yet. Mediums going on for A-Dub. It looks like front wings and hards going on for Pingolo. Osmanians putting on front wings and mediums. Fallen Demon, front wings and hards. Gab coming in here, front wings and mediums. And Mini looks like it's going to be, well, he's serving his 5-second penalty front wing, and the softs going on here. Bold strategy to go for the softs, has to be said. But the safety car back out on track again. And I'm going to step aside until it gets sorted out. Well, the game makes the late decision for the safety car to come in this lap. Not even halfway through the Grand Prix, and we've had 2 safety cars, virtual and a red flag. We started with 17, we're down to 12. Remember that our leader of Cynical has a drive-through penalty to be served here sooner rather than later. It looks like Light Work is going to inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. We are back under green flag racing. It looks like Lancey side by side with Light Work already, as we have Gazboy and Shariah as well, battling it into the first corner here. It looks as if Shariah is going to have the inside. Yes, he does. However, I would say he has the inside. Gab is, well, I'm not sure if he's defended well or he's gone wide, but either way, he's kept the spot until now. Shariah now down to the inside, takes the 4th spot. Nicely done. It's now Light Work and Lancey side by side into the Rajia chicane. Does it work? Still side by side, still wheel to wheel, and Lancey will get around Light Work, and we have A-Dub off at the back in his Audi. And he's done the right thing, and he's waited for the cars to clear behind him. I'm just wondering if he's gotten into contact or he's lost the car on his own. But either way, he's found the barriers on the outside of the Rajia chicane. But now we're back along with Shariah as he has 0.3 of a second. So NFS light work here for the final step on the podium. Down to the inside, in towards Parabolica. Does he have it? And light work, the back end of the car comes round and he spins. Well, that was pure error from light work that time. You saw under braking, the back end of the car just went around on their way into Parabolica and he finds himself all the way down to 9th, but at least for his sake, he's not hit anything, so he will be able to continue on. Fireballer on his way in. Cynical, who still has the drive-through penalty for jumping the start for the red flag restart there on the grid. He'll have to serve that soon enough. It's now Gasboy battling Shariah here for the 3rd spot. 0.2 of a second on their way into the Rajia chicane, but no move to be made so far. 0.5 of a second behind for Beamer, who suddenly finds himself into this battle as well, as Gab has left the session. As ahead, Gasboy still trying to find room and trying to find something back to Shariah here. Why is the back end of Shariah's car red? I'm not rightly sure. But either way, that's the case as they make their way into the Ascari corners now. 12 cars on track out of the 17 that we started with. Beamer is 0.9 of a second away from Gasboy. Osmanian a second behind Beamer. No DRS yet, but Gasboy looking down to the inside of Shariah. It looks like Gab has rejoined here. No DRS yet. In goes Cynical for his drive-through penalty. And now that leaves Lancey taking over the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's got a 1.5 second advantage over that of Shariah, who currently is under pressure from Gasboy on their way into the chicane in the front stretch. Who's going to get the better exit out of the corner here? Gasboy looks like he's done well, but again, he's slightly, just tentative getting back on the throttle. We've seen that with a lot of drivers today, where they just kind of hesitate of putting the pedal down and getting back up to speed. It looks like he's done well to keep along with Shariah here. 0.3 of a second and closing between the two as they make their way into the 2 Lesmos now. We're about halfway through this race, and by goodness, we've got it all. Lead changes, safety cars, virtual safety cars, red flags. And I tell you what, when we've not got yellow flags, the racing's been decently solid, has to be said. In towards the Ascari chicane now. Who's going to get the better exit out of the corner? It looks as if Shariah definitely has Gasboy matched, perhaps beaten as well. No DRS yet. You can see Gaz is holding onto his battery here. Exiting Parabolica. Now, I tell you what, Shariah is starting to close in on Lancey. That gap, which was, a 1.5 seconds, once Lightwork came in for his... Was it Lightwork that came in for his drive-through penalty? It was either him or it was Cynical, either one, I forget at this point. But after coming in for the drive-through penalty, Lancey had a 1.5 seconds advantage over the rest. But now, Shariah might find himself in DRS range here, as Beamer might be trying to find the outside of Osmanian in towards the Rajia chicane now, as Gasboy within position as well, although he's not close enough to make the move, and neither is Beamer in this point in time. Fireballer goes fastest, 1:22.22.3. I doubt Gaz is going to play it too aggressively down the straight here and in towards Ascari, although I tell you what, he's making some good ground on Shariah here. We'll have to wait and see. Shariah doing everything he can to... I think realistically, yeah, you could see he's used almost the entirety of his deploy here. But that now puts him within DRS range on Lancey. And at the detection zone, Shariah will have DRS to Lancey ahead. And that may be enough to keep Gasboy behind him. As you see, Gasboy is no longer in position to make that move happen, although he is closing in, but not enough to make anything happen. Shariah still teetering on the edge of, being inside or outside of that second window to Lancey. It looks like on the straight line, Shariah's gotten him beat, but Lancey, through the corners, through the chicanes, he's so clean. that he's once again putting tenths of a second back, as Gasboy perhaps looking to the inside, maybe just had a peek of clean air there back to Shiraya. But not enough to make anything happen currently. Well, we do have Mini. Well, he's on his way out of the pit now. My leaderboard lied to me there. He said he was within a tenth and a half of the next car, but that's just not the case. Looks like Beamer within half a second of Osmanian Devil here. We'll keep that. We'll keep an eye on that. But Gasboy's gotten around the outside of Shiraya then. Slightly unconventional place to make it happen, but I tell you what, Gasboy's done well. However, while these two battle, Lancey is now outside of a second on the two behind him. So, as they make their way to the detection zone here, neither of the drivers in second... Well, I was going to say Gasboy will not have DRS back to Lancey. So now Gasboy finds himself in quite a difficult spot here because he doesn't really have a battery whatsoever. He's about even Stevens with Shiraya on that front, and with DRS in favor of the Ferrari here, he's going to try to take it deep in towards the Rettifilo chicane. They're going to be side by side. No doubt some contact being made there. You really can't go side by side through that corner and not make contact, but it looks like Shiraya has had a wiggle with the car, getting back up to speed. It's wheel to wheel, nose to nose, as they make their way through Curva Grande, and somehow Shiraya Coleslaw comes out on top. Brilliant battling between these two, but that has opened up a nearly 2.5 second lead for Lancey back to the rest of the podium. I tell you what, if these two drivers really kind of focused on not battling and maybe just pushing onwards and getting some good pace, they may have had a shot for the win here, the two of them. But as they've decided to be selfish for the one position above them, Lancey has come out to a lead. And as they get to 10 laps to go this next time by, boy, as Gasboy's really struggled with the car there going through Ascari. In towards Parabolica they go. 4.5 tenths of a second here separate second and third. Does Gasboy have anything here? Does he have enough to get around Shiraya? He does have 20% more energy store. 4 tenths of a second and closing now down to 3 tenths. I tell you what, if the straight was maybe another 500 meters long, he would have had him. But the answer is going to be no, although I will say it looks like they've gotten away quite evenly. In fact, I'd say Gaz has gotten away better out of the chicane, and now through Curva Grande, Gaz may have an opportunity in towards Rajia chicane. Yeah, I think the opportunity was there, but it would have been a risky one, and Gaz has recognized that and has decided to not pursue the maneuver now. He doesn't need to panic yet. There's still a lot of race left to go. That's where I think he's starting to realize he just has to wear Shiraya Coleslaw down. It's 6 tenths of a second, and we'll say Osmanian Devil and Beamer here. That's a big slide from Osmanian. Does he hold on? The answer is no, and we have another DNF here, and what is sure to be probably, I would say, another safety car, as that car is in a terrible position of the track. But the course stays green. And it looks as if, I don't think the safety car is going to be coming out here. It probably should. And he's just caught the oversteer coming out of the second Lesmo, as we saw. I'm afraid somewhere along the line, Gaz has fallen outside of the second. Oh, I tell you what, Pingolo's made a move around Beamer there. That looked pretty nice. So Pingolo promotes himself up into fourth. And Gaz is, I would say, kind of struggling to hold on to this second gap back to Shiraya here. I'm wondering where he's gone wrong. The second of it, it's... Well, before Osmanian crashed, it was within a second. It's now outside of one, and that's slightly odd, it has to be said. Through the Lesmos they go, and Beamer is actually putting some good pace on it now. I think he's going to have a move at Pingolo here. Oh, I tell you what, he's looking for one initially. Should Beamer hold this pace out of Parabolica, I tell you what, he may have a fair shot for the fourth spot once again. Currently the closest battle on track is these two drivers, as that battle between Gaz and Shariah has fallen outside of a second, almost a second and a half, but it's 0.2 of a second here for the 4th spot. Beamer, I don't think, has gotten good acceleration out of Parabolica, although within the slipstream and the DRS activated, I would say Beamer is going to be on his way to making the move here. Down to the inside, and Pingolo is going to be able to outbrake him into the corner. Well, good battle for position here. Mediums versus hards. Pingolo's 9-lap mediums versus Beamer's 10-lap old hards. I would think these tires are nearing the crossover point. As far as mediums to hards, I think, yeah, you definitely want to be on hards at this stage. Slightly into the gravel there is Beamer, but not enough to disrupt him. Once again, a look at the penalties. Light work on 3 seconds, Gab on 3, Mini on 5. Looks like A-Dub has gotten around Fireballer there. Fireballer's on his way into the pits. That would explain that. Gaz has made some real headway here, back within a second, actually almost within half a second of Shariah here. I think Shariah has maybe made a mistake somewhere along the way, because this gap was not that close, not that long ago. And so now, well, you can see Gaz has really saved up a lot of battery here, 60%. As now, with DRS activated, oh, and light work is off! Light work is off at the chicane, coming out of the Scari. I don't believe we'll be seeing a safety car. Pingolo on his way in. Gazboy's not been able to get around Shariah, but I'm afraid for light work. Yeah, he's lost the car coming out of a Scari. You can see he's probably just gotten oversteer going through the corner. And that reduces the field down to 10. For what a chaotic race this has been. I'll tell you what, Gazboy, a little bit of wheel spin there, bumping the chip, not really getting up to the gears enough. Just waiting for the proper traction, I'd say. Gazboy 0.4 of a second back to Shariah. We're going to have 6 laps to go this next time by. As it has to be said, Gazboy's done well to get himself back to within striking distance here of Shariah. He's not going to have it now, but perhaps with a good exit out of Parabolica, he just may. Battery being used now. Down the pit straight they go. Does Gazboy have anything? DRS only being activated now, and he's made some serious ground. And well before they get to the braking zone, Gazboy has gotten the 2nd spot back. Very nicely done. As you can see, the Dutchman Alancy atop your picture. Oh, Gazboy is... something's gone wrong there. He's absolutely miffed the chicane, and Shariah will once again take the 2nd spot. And I'm afraid that was pure error on the front of Gazboy, because I don't think it's any secret there. He's just genuinely got that one wrong. He was doing so well, too. He really did well to get around Shariah, and I think... I don't know what happened there, but that is a shame for Gazboy, because he certainly could have had 2nd place. Although, you know, I think he does have some pace to get back within striking distance here. Does he have enough time? I think is the question that I'm going to be asking. Signs are going to point to no as far as that's concerned. It's a 2.5 seconds. I tell you what, it is closing rather quickly. As Shariah now starting to make up some time on Lancey. Lancey, I think, taking his time here. You can see he's once again stored his battery. No DRS for Gazboy, although he is closing in as Shariah, I would say, starting to close in on Lancey as well. 1.5 seconds the gap. Shariah doesn't really have any battery to really pressure him, I'd say, and Lancey's got a full 100. So 5 laps to go now for Lancey in the top spot. Been a very chaotic Grand Prix here, but Lancey has started on pole. He's, well, honestly, I'm a bit surprised he's doing as well as he is. He's had a lot of cars around him. and he's got genuinely overtaken, but then the drive-through penalty came for, I believe it was Cynical, I could be wrong. Melancy, at the beginning of this race, was under a lot of pressure. Now, for this second half of the Grand Prix, he's really been able to just drive away and keep calm, as Gasboy within 0.8 of a second of Shariah ahead. Doing his best to close in, but again, I think he's running out of time with 4 laps to go next time by. No DRS down this back straight, although the slipstream's still enough to keep Gasboy in, to keep Shariah in the crosshairs of Gasboy here. Let's see who gets the better exit out of Parabolica. DRS enabled here, and oh, by the way, Shariah back almost within a second of Lancy. Gasboy down the pit straight. He's not going to be close enough to make it happen in the corner. Is Lancy struggling here? Yes, he is. Lancy has nearly lost the car going through the chicane, and now Shariah finds himself right behind the Dutchman here. Now, instead of a 2-car battle for second and third, we have a 3-car battle for the top spot. With very little time remaining, this one is going to get crazy. As Shariah was going to have a look down to the inside into the Raji chicane, he's not made it happen, but suddenly Gasboy, who there was a certain amount of time we saw not long ago, really looked as if his chances for second place were over. I tell you what, he may just have a shout at it now, as Lancy, I'm not quite sure what's happened with him, but he has severely lost time here. For a driver that was ahead of Shariah Coleslaw by 2.5 seconds not 10 laps ago, something has gone drastically wrong for the Dutchman, and now Shariah in striking distance now. Although, again, you have to look at Lancy. 92% battery. He doesn't need to stress, although with DRS for the cars behind, he may just a little bit, but as long as he has his energy stored, he may be fine. 3 laps to go now. DRS activated for Shariah and Gaz. Shariah is not going to have enough to get Lancy into the corner, and Gaz also not going to have enough. Oh, but that's contact there, as Gaz has gone deep into the corner and has gotten Shariah on the back end of the car. Gaz has realized that. I don't think he's gone for anything dirty there. He's just maybe overshot it slightly. Doesn't look as if he's got front wing damage. He hasn't hit him that much, although it was enough to send Shariah slightly sideways. I'll tell you what, Shariah now starting to once again fall back of Lancy here. He's outside of 0.8 of a second. Gasboy definitely pressuring Shariah more than Shariah is pressuring Lancy ahead. But again, with the DRS for Shariah, I think Gaz is going to have a really tough time overtaking him here. We're going to have 2 laps to go this time by. Less than a second between the top 3. As Gasboy kind of looking to make the move past Shariah here. Through Parabolica. And now, 2 laps to go. DRS once again for the top 3. Gasboy a second outside of the top spot. As they go down the pit straight, it looks as if Shariah definitely, I think, is very much more under pressure from Gasboy here. I tell you what, he's getting closer to Lancy, but he's not necessarily threatening an overtake here, is he? The top 3 stay stagnant and stay calm for now. Pingolo trying to make a move around Gab. Mind you, Gab has a 3-second penalty here. Will he perhaps get that move into the first corner? This will be interesting to see if he does. The answer is going to be no. Pingolo realizes better and decides to not make the lunge. Through the Lesmos go the top 3, and it's still a second separating them. Gasboy really pressuring Shariah here. I think on the straight line, Shariah is struggling, which is odd because at the beginning we said Shariah was probably better in the straight line than Lancy, but for the time being, it looks as if all 3 of these cars so evenly matched on pace. As for the penultimate time, they go through Parabolica corner, and now about to start the final lap of the Grand Prix. The best opportunity for the overtake for the lead is going to be now. However, Shariah definitely under pressure here. Gab is going to try to make his way down to the inside. Shariah defends brilliantly, and that will resort to Gazboy having to switch his line. He's not been able to make it happen, and now I think Lancey might be at a position to hold on. That gap now a second, and for how close this got, it looks like now Lancey has, I don't want to use the word sandbagged, but it does slightly seem like he's able to once again ramp up the pace and pull away from these two trailing him, although one mistake could see a new winner, a new leader. Got blue flags ahead for that of Mini. How much does he interfere with this battle? None at all. Although I tell you what, Gaz may have a move into Ascari here. He was looking for it. Who gets the better exit out of the corner? Oh, and Mini picks up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and Gaz definitely had some oversteer, had some difficulty with the car on the way into the corner, and I think that has sealed his fate. But for Lancey, making his way through Parabolica, it wasn't easy at times at all, but he's made it look easy. As he rounds the final corner, he will win the Italian Grand Prix. Here in the Monkey Mafia Esports League, Shariah has done well to finish second, and Gaz, very solid result for him. He ends up in third. Shariah up 3 spots at the end of the day, has done well to put himself on the second step of the podium here in Monza. As it looks like Mini is retired from the session. Well, that's his car there. I'm not really sure. I tell you what, a battle we're having at this point. Well, Gab's got a penalty. He's going to lose the spot to Pingolo after it's said and done. Oh, and apparently now it's saying Gab's the winner of the race. That's not right. I'm not rightly sure what's going on with our standings here. We definitely saw Lancey cross the line first. He's definitely not 3.5 laps down from Gab. Or more than that, eh? Well, after it's all said and done here in Monza, it is Lancey taking the win, not Gab, as it says on your screen. That, I believe, is some sort of comical error from the game. Shariah second, Gaz third, Beamer fourth, Pingolo fifth. It will be Gab, I believe, taking sixth. Seventh is Cynical, eighth, A-Dub, ninth, Fireballer. 10th is Mini, and everyone else, unfortunately, behind did not finish the Grand Prix. Well, we had it all today. What a Grand Prix it was, Hotspot. It's been a pleasure joining you this time out, and we'll see you next time.